Hey guys, today I'm filming a chit chat get ready with me using my project pan items and testing out a couple new products. I have gotten so many makeup products basically since December, and I want to do a lot of reviews, but I know that's going to take a while, so I'm hoping to incorporate some products into some get ready with me's and some tutorials so you can hear my thoughts along the way. And I have been incorporating my project pan items in my everyday routine, so I wanted to go ahead and show you how I'm using those and give you a little bit of thoughts on them. I'm already anticipating that this is going to be a very long video, so I'm going to try to cut out any unnecessary parts, maybe speed up a little bit, so please be prepared. I feel like this is going to be pretty long. So the project pan items I'll be featuring in this video come from my Project Use It Up 2017 as well as my Project 10 Pan Roulette collab. I will have cards for both of those projects if you would like to see all of the products, but I will be incorporating products from both of those projects today. So starting with primers, I have a really high maintenance combination, but this is the Skindinavia Makeup Primer Spray. That is the oil control version. This is in my Project Use It Up. So I just give this a little shake and spray it all over. I don't know what happened to this, but in some time period that I've been using it, the sprayer got kind of jacked up and it's like, so I feel like I'm just dodging, trying to get it to land on my face correctly. So I feel like I'm probably wasting a little bit of product that way, but I'm trying my best. So now just giving that a little bit to dry. My next primer is the Becca Backlight Priming Filter. This is an item in my Project 10 Pan Roulette. And this is a glowy primer for mostly dry and normal skin. And I do have very oily skin, but I figured I could get away with using this because it is in the winter time. So I'm just going to pump out a little bit of this, rub it on my fingers, and then just rub it on to my skin. I just try to use a little bit of this because I am so oily, and I think this gives a nice glow, but it doesn't make me too dewy, so it actually works with my oily skin okay. But because I put so much matte full coverage makeup on top, the glow doesn't shine through, so it kind of is a waste for me because I don't see the effects, but that's okay because I'm really just trying to use it up. And then I'm just going to blend some on my forehead, nose, chin. This has a really nice light scent to it, so just patting that in. And my last primer is something that is new to me. This is the MakeUpForEver Step 1 Smoothing Primer. I've been wanting to try this forever, and I recently got it in a Sephora Play Box, so I'm just going to use this to fill up my large pores, which are right here on the sides of my cheeks. So I'm just pressing that in and then smoothing it over, moving towards the outside of my face. And this does a really, really great job. This is similar to the Smashbox, except the Smashbox is a little bit thicker and more dry. So if you have dry skin, I don't know if that one would be so awesome for you, but this one seems better because it's a bit thinner and not so drying. But also I've had my Smashbox for a while, so maybe my opinion changed from the beginning of a bottle to the end of the bottle, but I am really enjoying this one. It does a really good job. Now for foundation, I have a combination I recently mentioned in my February favorites video, which I'll have linked up here. The combination is using the Kat Von D Lock It Tattoo Foundation in the shade Light 45. Almost done with this, and this is in my Project 10 Pan Roulette, and I am mixing it with my Hard Candy Glamoflague Mix In Pigment Makeup Drops in Fair 1. I have an entire review video on this. I will have it linked up here. And I'm going to be mixing 1 pump of this with 2 drops of the Hard Candy for one side of my face, then doing the same for the other side of my face. And I'm going to be mixing that on this little clear Cosmo Cube acrylic mixing palette. You can buy this from Sephora. It was really inexpensive, and I actually use it every single day. The Kat Von D foundation gives super full coverage, but it is a bit too dark and a bit too peachy for me, which is why I need a lightener. But it also has a really, really thick consistency that can be tough to blend out. So the Hard Candy product lightens the shade, but it also thins out the consistency, making it so much easier to work with. But I do not find that it takes away any of the coverage. And I'm going to blend it out with the Real Techniques Mirror Complexion Sponge. If I was just using the Kat Von D on its own, I think I would have trouble blending it with a sponge. But because because I'm using the hard candy and it is making it a little bit lighter of a consistency, it's easy to blend out with this and give me a more flawless look so it doesn't look like so much full cakey makeup. So I'm just going to pat this into my skin. I love the Real Technique sponge because of this flat angled side here. I feel like it gives more coverage than a regular sponge would because I'm just pressing it into my skin. So that's one layer. I would usually take whatever is left and just add a little bit more on my cheeks, but right now I'm just going to take what I have left and go on to this side of my face, and then if I need more product I will get more. I just have one layer on my entire face. I decided not to go in with more product. I could use it, but I don't think I need to. Moving on to concealer, I have two because of course I have a high maintenance routine trying to use up all these Project Pan items. So first I'm going to use the Lorac Porefection concealer in light, which is a very fair yellow shade, and I do use this sometimes on my cheeks. I've been forgetting to do it before foundation, but I have been using this every single day under my eyes, just taking a little bit to use it as a corrector. And I will be taking the Morphe E8. I think this is a detailed contour, but I've just been using this under my eyes to blend out this product. And you can blend it out with a sponge, but I feel like it takes away a bit of the coverage. So I prefer using this brush. And I'm just pressing it into my skin. Next, I'm going to be taking a new product. This is the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer in the shade Fair, which is really, really light. And I'm just going to take a little bit of this and use it to highlight under my eye. I've never heard anybody talk about this scent, but I think it is such a strong perfume kind of scent, and I hate it. And I think it is so strong, but I've literally never heard anybody mention it. So I'm glad it doesn't bother a lot of other people, but it kind of annoys me. But it doesn't make my eyes burn or anything. So because this is such heavy duty full coverage concealer, I'm just going to take a little bit of it. And then taking my Real Techniques Miracle Complexion Sponge, I'm just going to blend this out under my eyes. And this just does a great job of highlighting, and this shade is really, really good for me. If you are really fair and looking for a concealer that will actually highlight, this is a good one because the shade is so darn light. And getting into that inner corner as well. And using a sponge to blend it out makes it look so much more airbrushed. Holy crap, on camera this is looking so freaky and bright. Ugh. Next, to set my under eyes, I'm going to be using the Nye Cameo Powder. I put it in a different container. And this is part of my Project 10 pan. And I'm going to take the pointed back side of my Real Technique sponge to set under my eyes with this powder. And I only use a little bit of this. I find that if I use too much of this powder, it leaves like a cakey, pinky white cast, which is weird. So I just have to be careful not to use too much. But when I use a light amount, I think it works so well. And it doesn't necessarily darken up the shade, but I feel like it just blends it into my skin so the concealer doesn't look so stark. And to set my entire face, I'm going to be using the RCMA No Color Powder, which is part of my Project Use It Up. I have it in a different container as well because the container for that is so terrible. I'm going to be using the Real Techniques powder brush to set everything else. And this is the brush I've started using even with my Maybelline powder to make sure that my skin is set but not cakey, instead of using the e.l.f. powder brush I've been using for years. So I really do like this brush to set my face but not make me look so cakey. So finally, my complexion products are all done. Moving on to cheeks, I'm going to be using my Revlon PhotoReady bronzer in Bronzed and Chic, which is part of my Project 10 pan. I'm going to apply it with the e.l.f. stippling brush. I recommend using a stippling brush to apply your bronzer, especially if you have fair skin. So I'm just going to be taking this in my cheekbones, blending it back towards my hairline, and then taking a little bit of this up onto the sides of my forehead. I like putting bronzer on my forehead because I do have a larger forehead, but because I'm fair, I have to be really careful that it doesn't end up looking too dark or splotchy. And I was using these lighter portion right here that I've repressed. That is the section I'm really trying to use up. And then I'm actually just going to use those same shades to contour using my Sigma F05 small contour brush. And I'm going to put that right in the hollow of my cheeks. This is kind of warm to contour, but I just figured why not, so I can get some more use out of this. Then taking my Real Techniques blush brush, I am just going to blend over top of the bronzer so it doesn't look so harsh. Next for blush, I'm so excited because I'm going to be using a brand new product. This is the MAC Blush in Sweet Sweet Fantasy from the Mariah Carey collection. I got this for Christmas and I haven't used it yet. I'm going to apply it with my Sigma F15 Duo Fiber blush brush. This brush is amazing with brushes that are super pigmented, and this one looks still very pigmented, so we will blend it back and forth. Just gonna wipe a little bit on my hand and then just blending. Oh my gosh, this is so pretty. Of course, this would probably be better on someone with deeper skin, but I am not afraid of a bright blush. And again, blending that with the Real Techniques blush brush. I know this looks really intense still, but I don't mind because I just love blush so much. And for highlight, I'm going to be using a new product that I featured in my February haul. This is the Pixi Beauty Blush Duo in Rose Gold. Of course, I will be using the highlight shade, and I'm going to apply it with the Real Techniques setting brush. Just going to pick up a good bit of this product and apply it on the top of my cheekbones. That's very pretty. It's really hard for me to get highlights to show up on my skin because I'm so fair, but this one seems really pretty. Lastly, for face, I'm going to be using the Skindinavia Makeup Finishing Spray. That is the oil control version. This is in my Project Use It Up. And the mist on this one works really well, and I would love to spray my face after I do my eyeshadow, but before eyeliner and mascara, but I usually forget, so I just go ahead and do it after all of my face products. So now I'm going to zoom you in for brows and eyes. So for the brows, I'm going to start off using a spoolie. This is just the Sonia Kashuk spoolie to comb through my brows. To fill them in, I'm going to be using a Project 10 pan item. This is the Benefit Cabral Brow Pomade in the shade number 1, which is their lightest blonde shade. And I'm using the brush that comes with it because the opening for this product is so small and it gets kind of messy. So I'm just going to work off some product from my finger. Actually, it's what I've been doing the past couple days, and it works well. Just making sure that the brush is completely coated. So I'm going to start at the arch and the tail and then move on the top of my brow towards the front to help map it out first, then going underneath of the tail, filling the tail in, picking up some more product from my finger here and underlining my brow, and then just putting my brush standing up like this, and I am going to take whatever is left and fill in the center of my brow. I'm lucky that I have pretty thick brows, so I'm really just evening them out. I don't have to fill them in so much. So there's a basic shape for that. I'm going to go ahead and do the same on the other side, and then I'm going to come back to try to even out the front of my brows. All right, so now I have that filled in, and I'm going to go in with the front. This is the hardest part to get them even. Usually I have to go in with some concealer, so if it looks funky, I apologize. So that part's done. They're definitely not looking perfect. Like I said, I usually do a lot with concealer to get them even. Now I'm going to finish them off with the Wet n Wild Ultimate Brow Mascara in Blonder Over Yonder. This is something I'm trying to use up, but I don't have it in any particular project. So I'm just going to go over top of my brows with that, and doing the same on the other side. Using a brow gel probably isn't necessary, but because it's something I want to use up, I am using it. Next for eye primer, I'm using the Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion. I am just bending back and forth to get every last little bit out of this. This isn't in any particular project, but again, it is something that I'm trying to use up, so I just put that primer between my two fingers, and I am going to apply this from lash line to brow bone. And I have two different eyeshadows and brushes I use to set my primer. Again, I'm as high maintenance as it gets. So first I'm going to be taking Matte Malloy from the Balm Meet Matte Nude palette. This is just a matte white shade. And I'm going to be setting the primer under my brow bone with that shade and the Wet n Wild large eyeshadow brush. And I am just going right under my brow with that. It really highlights quite nicely. And because I'm so fair, I can get away with using a matte white eyeshadow. So there's what that looks like. And you can just see from one brow to the next, I feel like it makes my brows look a little bit more lifted as well. And the second eyeshadow I use to set my primer is Wet n Wild Brulee. This is the one in the Vanity palette, but this is a single shadow. That is just a matte cream shade that matches my skin tone, and I apply it with the Wet n Wild crease brush. You can definitely use your face powder or any other eyeshadow that perfectly matches your skin tone. So I am going to be taking this shade and setting my crease. And this is what I do every single day. I feel like when I set the primer in my crease and my brow bone, it makes my other shades blend better. I do not set the primer on my lid because 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna be using a cream eyeshadow base on the lid. Now for eyeshadow, all of the shades I'm gonna be using are coming from the Pure Cosmetics Trolls palette. Here's what the palette looks like. I'm gonna be going in with some of the more warm shades. I like to start off my looks by applying my transition color first. So I am going to take this shade Wisdom right here. It is a nice matte shade that is a great, very, very light transition color for my skin tone. So I'm going to start off with this, and I'm going to apply it with my Sigma E40 tapered blending brush. And these pure shadows are definitely a bit powdery, but they blend quite nicely. So just applying this right in my crease transition area, and I'm going to be taking a second layer of this to help build up the color just a bit. And now I'm going to go in with a cream base on my lid. This is the Laura Mercier Caviar Stick in Rose Gold. This is relatively new. I did get it in a Sephora Play box a couple months back. And I am going to just draw this right onto my lids. It just glides so easily. And of course you can use this as a base or on its own. And then I'm going to go over top with my finger and just blend it out a bit. From the Pure palette, I'm going to be taking this golden shade Karma with my MAC 239 flat shader brush and packing this on my lid. And I use a cream base on my lid with all of my eyeshadows except for ColourPop, so that doesn't have anything to do with the longevity or performance of this shade. But I just find that cream bases just make your powder shadows look more vibrant and help them last a bit longer. Next, I'm going to be taking the shade Fuzzy with my Sigma E40 tapered blending brush, and I'm going to be applying a tiny bit of this into my transition. This is a really pigmented shadow, so I don't want to use too much, but I think this will really help warm up the look a bit and add a little bit more color. Next, I'm going to take the shade Fuzzy with my MAC 286 Dual Fiber Taper Blending Brush, and I'm going to apply this shade into my crease. And if you have a deep skin tone, Fuzzy could be a great transition, or mixing Fuzzy and Wisdom together, but I'm just going to be applying it a bit more heavily for my crease shade. But because I'm using a blending brush to apply it, it isn't going to be too intense. And this has become my favorite way to apply my crease color and to help me fade it in towards the inner corner without applying too much product. I'm going to take my same MAC 286 and a little bit of DJ Suki and apply it in my outer corner. I'm seriously taking the tiniest amount of DJ Suki because it is a pretty intense orange shade, and applying it just in the outer corner and then blending it into the crease a smidge. And then after I do all of my transition crease colors, I like to go back in with my lid shade, which is Karma, and my finger, and really pack this on the lid to make sure I have all of that intensity. So now my eyeshadow is all complete, but as you can see, it is a little bit messy here. So I like to take Wet n Wild Brulee and my Sigma E45 small tapered blending brush. You can also take your face powder or an eyeshadow that matches your skin tone, and I'm going to go right along the outer part of my eye and blend to help clean up this look. You can also use concealer, but sometimes this does just the job and saves me a step. So for eyeliner and mascara, I'm going to do it off camera. Last time I tried to do it on camera, it completely ruined my look, but I am using a couple Project Pan items. I'm using my Jessie's Girl liquid liner and my Benefit They're Real mascara. Both of these are in my Project 10 Pan Roulette, and then I'm also going to be using the Pure Fully Charged mascara. So here what the eyes look like, all complete. I love the way that this eyeshadow turned out. I accidentally got some mascara like on my freaking face, like all the way over here, so I had to take a couple minutes to try to wipe that off. So we're going to finish this off with a lip product. I am using one of the new Maybelline Intimatte Nude Matte lipsticks, and I'm using the shade 555 Naked Coral. And there is the finished look. I probably could have gone with a lip that was a bit more nude, but I wanted to use another nude product. The formula of this is just like the Maybelline matte lipsticks. I love this color, and I'm definitely interested in a few more. So guys, that was my chit chat get ready with me using Project Pan items and also testing out new products. I would love to know your thoughts if you have tried out any of these items. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'm sorry it was so long. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye guys.